everyone, we're the Motivators. We had Chapter 3 on managing diversity in a global environment. I'm Izzy.
I'm Sam.
I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Cadence.
So we will just go over the gist of the chapter and give a little bit of summary and talk about how we can apply these things in our managing life.
So section 1 is all about different types of corporations and how corporations can be multinational, international, or transnational. So some examples, a multinational corporation is one that owns different businesses in different countries, which makes it multinational. So PepsiCo owns different businesses like Frito-Lay and some other ones that are all headquartered in different countries, which is the example that's given in the chapter. And they're all headquartered in different countries, so that's what makes it multinational. An international company, which is like Google, has a headquarters in one country, but it does business in many different countries. And then a transnational company is like IBM. They don't have one specific headquarters in one country. They might have multiple headquarters, or they might have no headquarters, and so they operate like across country borders. So ethnocentrism in management. So ethnocentrism, the book defines it as regarding one's own ethnic group or culture as superior to others. So obviously that can be an issue if you have managers or really just any employees who view others who are from other cultures as less than them. Obviously in business you want to treat everyone equally, and you don't want to view your own culture as better than others. So how this plays into global business is if you have a company headquartered in one place, but you're operating in multiple countries, you obviously want to treat those subsidiary companies with just as much respect as you would the parts that are headquartered in your one country. So it's really important to have diverse managers. So if you have your headquarters in America, but you have your company's also operating in another country like China, you might want to have managers who are from China so they kind of understand that culture. Another important element of global business is trade across borders. So the book goes over a few terms, which are pretty common business terms. So an embargo is a ban on imports, usually from a specific country or group of countries. Subsidies are when the government will give money to companies, like in the form of grants, usually, and that's to encourage them usually to keep their business in that country. A tariff is a tax on imports from a specific country. So lately in U.S. news, there's been talk of putting tariffs on Chinese goods to help support American business. And then the World Trade Organization is an organization that's international, and it helps countries kind of make agreements with each other to work out these different tariffs and embargoes, so that everyone's able to kind of operate freely, and it really promotes free trade. So one of the trade agreements that is probably most familiar to us as Americans is NAFTA, which is the North American Free Trade Agreement. And the final thing that I have that's from section 1 about global business is that when you have operations in multiple countries, it's important to remember the cost differences and the standard of living differences. So for example, in say India, the standard of living is lower than in America, so your business might operate differently in those different countries.
All right, so I did the section on managing global business, and with globalization comes a complex human exchanges, making interpersonal skills and problem solving really important. One thing that I really liked from the chapter was think globally, act locally. So one of the examples that the book used was the McDonald's in India it has a Big Mac, but it doesn't serve beef because obviously in India the culture is not to eat beef, so it kind of adapted its most popular item for the culture and the environment that it is in. I thought that was really interesting. It also talks about the 6 forms of global business. So global sourcing is hiring outside the firm to perform work worldwide. So do what you can do the best and then outsource the rest. I thought that was a really good business standard. Also, to go along with that, importing and exporting. So import the goods that you can't make, but export the goods that your country is good at making. Licensing and franchising is also used to go global within a business. Contracting is on a large scale, having a foreign company actually make the entire product for you, and then you sell that product. Strategic alliances and joint ventures is an agreement to share resources that don't necessarily involve creating a new company. And direct investment, building or buying of an operation facility in a foreign country. So I thought all of these were really interesting, not necessarily anything that I knew before, and a really good background about global business and how to conduct business with other countries that we don't necessarily think about, because like Elizabeth said, a lot of times we can have a very ethnocentric point of view, but it is important to think globally. Also, like I just said, business is global, so to succeed in a global environment, companies must deal with its own organizational culture and national culture and learn how to integrate them. The best way to do that is be aware of the other cultures that you're working with and be open to kind of modifying your products to meet their needs.
Okay, so the next section talks about diversity and inclusion. So diversity refers to the variety of people within different group identities within the same workplace. And it's important to talk about diversity within the workplace because it involves both the employees and the customers. Inclusion refers to kind of the process of ensuring everyone feel as if they belong and they're a valued member of the company or the corporation. I guess talking about a global mindset, we have to be aware that there's many different kinds of cultures, and diversity is really important for management. It talked about differences between valuing diversity and affirmative action. Affirmative action policies are designed to improve work outcomes for underrepresented groups, and then valuing diversity doesn't focus on just discriminating against diverse groups and helping only some of them, but sometimes at the expense of others through reverse discrimination. But value diversity also has a focus on accepting differences and helping certain groups. An inclusive value system creates a sense of belonging. So feeling of being respected and being valued is important, and it's mainly important because if an employee doesn't feel valued, then their performance may not be as high as you would like it to, and they may not be able to do their best work. Many companies are replacing the word diversity with the word inclusion to better reflect and shift away from diversity to inclusion. And also within that is discrimination. So basically discrimination is illegal. It's unfair treatment to diversity groups in employment decisions. Some discrimination decisions can involve training, can involve staffing, promoting, compensating or terminating. And then within that you have so many types of stereotypes, like mistaken generalizations of each type of culture, which is also not good. And so I guess why is it important? Again, discrimination is illegal, and promoting diversity and inclusion creates equal opportunities for all employees. And it's beneficial to a business because if employees don't feel included, then they would generally not have high performance value. So that's basically what my section talked about.
I think it's also interesting because inclusion and diversity in a workplace is not necessarily something you think about always when thinking about business and the work environment, but it's so important and crucial to having a company that succeeds and is inclusive to everybody, it just makes your company look better and also makes your employees feel like much safer with wanting to work there.
And I think even with having a more diverse group of employees, they all kind of bring something different to the table.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's important to have within your company, have diversity. Anything?
Type of diversity and managing diversity. I'm going to talk about 5 types of diversities. Managers have the challenge of managing a diverse workforce, breaking down the stereotypes and creating equal opportunity for all individuals. People tend to get along better with people in their own group, like age, gender, race, ethnicity, disability, ability, or religion. The challenge for a manager is the need to get everyone to work together, keeping in mind that most groups have legal protection against discrimination. Age and generational diversity and management. Age, there are a wide range of age group resulting in different diverse generation in the workplace. Managers should make decisions based on the individual's qualifications for the job to be done regardless of age. Generational diversity and manager refer to the different values, experiences, styles, and activities that can create misunderstanding and frustrations. Manager needs to be aware of the similarities and differences among generations. Genders and sexual orientation, the LGBT. Gender the term sex and gender are often used interchangeably, but they are different. Sex distinguishes biological male and females. Gender does include sex, but also includes common behavioral characteristics. Managers should be aware of gender stereotypes and not judge others because they don't fit into our view of how males and females should look and act. They also should look at the qualification of the individual and not discriminate against them by giving them the job they are qualified to do. The glass ceiling refers to the invisible barrier that prevents women and minorities from advancing to the top job in organization. The Glass Ceiling Commission helps to address this problem. There are negative stereotypes against women and minorities advancing. Discrimination is considered the most significant factor in holding both women and minority back, preventing them from getting jobs and advancing in organizations. Sexual orientation, the LGBT, refers to the people who are lesbians, gay, bisexual, and transgender. Regardless of our beliefs or religions, attitudes, a company should include LGBT. Homophobia, bias, and discrimination based on a person's sexual orientation needs to be avoided in order to get along with people. Race and ethnicity diversity management, having a wide range of racial and ethnic background across the globe and having women and minorities can have a positive effect on the overall firm reputation and corporate social performance. Disability and ability. The disability refers to the law prohibits discrimination against people with disability by treating them differently because of their disability. The American with Disability Act requires companies to make reasonable accommodations. Managers should create and maintain an environment which people with disabilities can feel comfortable to work. The abilities, we all know that everybody has their own abilities and based on our education, training, and experience. So people in different functional areas of the company tend to see things from their own department perspective and bring different contribution to the company. The religion and diversity management, employers are required by law to make reasonable accommodation for employees' religion beliefs. Manager needs to be cautious on it. Making accommodations is not giving a special treatment to people that other employees will resent. Other type of diversity are weight, personality, attractiveness, and family. But managing diversity and through inclusion, that is the most important thing in here, says about the diversity policies and practices. Companies should policies and practice to promote diversity. The policies and practices should promote diversity climate of inclusion that is part of the organization culture. Diversity training teach people how to get along better with diverse workers through inclusion, and mentoring enhance management skills, encourage diversity, and improve productivity.
So Section 5 is on managing cultural diversity in the workplace. That's important because national culture has a major impact on employees' work-related values and attitudes. There's a guy named Geert Hofstede, I believe it's pronounced, who surveyed more than 116,000 IBM employees in the 70s and 80s, where he identified 5 cultural dimensions in which employees differ. But since his research, the 5 dimensions have expanded to 9 through the Project Globe research team, which is an ongoing cross-cultural investigation of leadership and national culture. So the 9 dimensions are assertiveness, people are tough, confrontational, and competitive. Future orientation, people plan, so they delay like immediate gratification for to invest in the future. Gender differences, people have great gender role differences. Uncertainty avoidance, people are uncomfortable with the unknown or ambiguity, so they like security and not taking as many risks. Power distance, people accept power inequality differences like management power as opposed to employee power. Societal collectivism, teamwork is encouraged. In-group collectivism, people take pride in membership. Performance orientation, people strive for improvement and excellence. And humane orientation, people are fair, caring, and kind to others. So the cultural values and beliefs are often unspoken because most people expect others to behave the same way that they do. But in order to be successful, it's important to be sensitive to others' cultures. Their values and beliefs might be different than your own. So many companies also have international assignments where you might be required to work abroad. So you have to adjust to a completely different culture. So accepting or refusing an international assignment can affect your career advancement because as a global manager, you need to be flexible and adapt to other ways of behaving. So it's mainly important just because there are so many different cultural differences in the workplace, especially here, and so being sensitive to that and being able to adapt and be flexible to change and accept other people's cultures is very important to make everyone feel included. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for watching our video. We'll see you next time. Bye.